because I grew up in Leesburg, I sort of really got like assimilated and sort of, I guess you could say in a way, whitewashed through my upbringing.
Yeah, I can tell.
I didn't have any. Okay.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the second episode of the Asian Experience, the show where we talk about the uncovered experiences of Asian people all across the globe. So, if you don't know who I am, my name is Tyler. I make videos about college, career, personal finance, and the Asian experience. Today, I'm joined by my colleague, friend and colleague, Eric Chen, and he's going to talk a little bit about growing up in the South. And where exactly, like, where you're from? Like, where in the South?
Yeah, that's a great question. First, thank you so much, Tyler, for having me on the show. It's a great honor. But in terms of my experiences with the South, so just a little background. So I was born actually in the Midwest. But when I was around 7 or 8, I moved to the South. I moved into this really small town called Leesburg, Georgia. It's in the southeast portion of Georgia. And I lived there from 3rd grade until 8th grade, and then after that I moved to Auburn, Alabama, which is another small town, but it's a little bigger than Leesburg. So those are the two main.
Auburn, the university.
The university, right? The college town.
So I could imagine it's like a decent size there, then, right?
Yeah, so it's kind of like Champaign-Urbana. There's the kind of the soul of the city, the soul of the town is really the college campus, and then outside we have all the townies. So
did you live like on campus, or was your house like?
No, so I lived. It was about like a 10-15 minute drive from the campus, but the town itself is like small, so that was considered kind of far away.
Yeah,
so it was still a really small town.
Cool. And were there like a lot of Asian people down there?
So in Georgia, in Leesburg, Georgia, it was that was super small. So that's your stereotypical like southern town. We only had like a couple stoplights. We had the McDonald's, the gas station. That was like the big thing. In that city, there were not a lot of Asians. I think there was only like maybe 2 or 3 of the whole county.
Damn.
I think I was like 1 of 2 my grade. So that was really unique. And so that was from 3rd to 8th grade. So that was really influential because that's where I grew up. And then after 8th grade, when I moved to Auburn. So Auburn actually has a pretty large Korean community. There's a Kia factory plant in Alabama. So there's a lot of Koreans who immigrate here and work for Kia, and they settle in Auburn. So there's a bigger, I guess, more diverse community in Auburn. So that was really nice.
And then you yourself aren't Korean though, right?
No, I'm not Korean. So I'm Chinese. Both my parents are from China. And so that was really interesting because the predominant majority of Asians in that community were Korean. So we were considered like the marginalized community within the marginalized community. So
no, I feel that, dude, because like I'm Thai, and a lot of people, well, let alone like, there's not a lot of Thai people in the U.S., right? But on top of that, the town I came from was Glendale Heights. It's actually pretty diverse. I believe it was like it's the most diverse suburb in Illinois, which is actually pretty cool. But cool. A lot of the Asians there are actually either Filipino or Vietnamese. I'm like the only Thai person there, dude. Like I swear to God, like there might be like one other person, but like I definitely feel that. Were you friends with a lot of the Korean Asians?
So because I grew up in Leesburg, I sort of really got like assimilated and sort of, I guess you could say in a way, whitewashed through my upbringing.
I can tell.
I didn't have any. I didn't really have any opportunity to really explore my own culture, my own identity. And so because of that, when I moved to Auburn, for me, interacting with the Asian community was a bit, I guess, off for me. I didn't really know. It was a bit awkward for me, I guess.
It's kind of like hard to relate.
Right. So I didn't get, unfortunately, a very good relationship with like other Asians throughout my high school. But that's definitely changed since coming to college.
That's cool. So you talked a little bit about like your life growing up, or basically the setting, the gist of it. What was school life like? Day in the life of high school Eric, middle school Eric, whatever it may be.
Yeah, that's a great question. So for high school, I went to Auburn High School, and as the name suggests, in Auburn, Alabama. It was a pretty large high school. A graduating class was around 650, and so of that, I would say maybe like, I don't know, 40 or 50 were Asian. So a decent amount. But my sort of main identity going up through high school was I played soccer, and so I played on the club and on the school team, and so that was a really big part of sort of my social group, my identities, and so because of that, I didn't get a great chance to interact with a lot of people outside. And so I think I was like the only Asian on the soccer team, and so I didn't get a huge chance to interact. And then going back even further to middle school, this was in Leesburg, and so because of that, I had almost no opportunity to learn about my own culture. But I think coming to U of I think has made a tremendous difference because there's such a, I guess, not even like the number of Asians, but the culture, like the inclusivity, right?
I know. I mean, if you guys never like been to U of I or anything, there's so many Asians here.
Very diverse.
It's crazy. It's to the point where it's like, there's like literally melting pots of like culture, and like there's stuff I never knew about, like Chinese culture, right?
I will say though, in the South, one thing that you typically don't expect is because even though the community is smaller, the community is more close knit. It's a closer community. In other words, like you get to know the few other Asian families super well because there's no one else to know. And so because of that, we have like really close. Like we have a couple really close family friends. And so that's something that I think gets lost a lot of times when you have a bigger community. So I guess that's one thing I didn't realize when I came here.
Yeah, then talking about that, what was like home life like?
Home life, home life was quite unique. So at home, I would talk to my parents in Chinese, or try to at least. And then I would talk to English with my brother, and then of course at school I would talk English with all my teachers and friends. In terms of like the differences, like we can start with like food. So at home,
I was gonna ask you that. I was gonna be like, what'd you eat?
It was actually like a very good mix, like a very healthy mix. So my mom mostly made like Chinese cuisine, so that was really good. And then my dad also made a lot of Chinese cuisine, but he also like started to get more into like grilling and like Western cooking. So my dad would always like come home and say, "Oh, I gotta try this new recipe of this new barbecue." So so I've had a good mix, and then of course, but it was predominantly Asian food. So, so like rice or noodles was expected, and then some dishes. And then obviously outside, like during lunch or outside of home, it would just be like fast food or going out to eat.
Did you celebrate like Chinese New Year or?
Yeah, so we did celebrate Chinese New Year, but it was like it wasn't a very big thing. It was only like something happening within home, like inside my house. And so that was good in the sense that I really got to learn about Chinese New Year and my culture through my family instead of like social media or other different like avenues. It was mostly like my parents teaching me about Chinese New Year, teaching me about what it means to be Asian American. So that was really cool. Although it would have been nice to have more people celebrate it alongside instead of just my family and the whole neighborhood.
Right. I feel that. So last question, basically, on a scale of 1 to 10, how in touch do you feel like with your like Asian culture now? And 10 being like every single thing to know, like basically like you're born like it's like as if like you're a native born there. And let's do like before, like during high school, right? So when you're growing up, and it's predominantly like when you're growing up in the South, right? And then like now that you're kind of out of the South.
Out of the South, okay. I think if you had to ask that same question to high school Eric, he would have said like an 8 or a 9 because he had no other reference to go off of.
Yeah.
Right. But now looking back, at high school, I didn't realize how much I didn't know.
Yeah.
So I would say there's been a lot of growth, but I also realized there's still a lot more to grow on. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I would say if I had to put a number on it, I would say maybe like a 6.5.
Yeah.
Now, and then before coming out of the South, I would say maybe like a 4.5. So big growth, but there's also a lot of more potential. I can see myself. So I also want to point out like these are just experiences of me, and so like I don't represent all of the Asians in the South. I only represent my experiences. And so I think it varies to an extent by person to person. But so I guess I would say from a 4 to what did I say, 6.5?
Yeah, 6.5. So. That's cool.
Yeah,
that's good that you said that because like I don't know too many Asians in the South. Like you're pretty much the only person I know off the top of my head. But like no, it's crazy because like people normally don't really think about like how like growing up, Asian people's experiences are so different depending on like where they live. Right. So it's like you're into like you go to like games and stuff like a lot. Would you say like a lot more than like other Asians?
What
like
games?
Sports games?
Oh yeah,
like,
so like I'm pretty like a lot
of
my hobbies.
Games or something
a lot of my hobbies closely aligned with like typical Americana.
I feel that.
Activities. So
yeah.
I think you're like you said where you grew up, your upbringing, sort of the community you're surrounded with has makes a huge impact in sort of how you identify yourself.
Cool. Also, what's your favorite Asian food?
Favorite Asian food would probably be my mom's homemade dumplings.
Orange chicken? No. I'm playing.
Orange chicken from Panda?
Dude, no. Orange chicken from Cravings, bro.
I would say my favorite food is every New Year, my mom makes these really good homemade steamed dumplings. I tell my mom to make extra every year.
That's cool. All right, well, thank you, Eric, for being on this episode of The Asian Experience. I hope a lot of people got to take some insights from what you were saying, and that you're really articulate. Like you, compared to like Dylan, the person that my
I hope so, but I still know I have a lot to learn. So thank you for having me, Tyler.
Yeah, no, of course. And so you can take this like 20-30 seconds, just say like what do you got going on.
I actually grew up, like I said, I grew up in the Midwest. I was born in the Midwest, rather. And so I wanted to sort of, there was an expectation almost at home where you were expected to go to an in-state school, like a regional school. But I really wanted to sort of get out of my comfort zone and go somewhere out of state. And so I ended up here. And so now I'm a junior, majoring in integrated biology and chemistry. And one day I hope to be a physician. So currently pre-med. So
Doctor.
Hopefully one day.
With that said, I hope you guys enjoyed the second episode of Asian Experience, growing up in the South with Eric Chen, big boy over here. If you guys want to support my channel, please like and share to a friend. Leave a comment down below on what was the most interesting thing that Eric said. And subscribe if you want to see more videos
I'll be watching.
And subscribe if you want to see more videos about college, career, personal finance, and the Asian experience. With that said, peace.
See ya.